Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, September 5, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let's just take a look at the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook by the US National Hurricane Center. We can see that that area that the US National Hurricane Center has been watching has now evolved into Tropical Storm Lee, and we still have the other areas of possible development that we mentioned in yesterday's video. That one still right there across the northeastern section of North Atlantic, and the other one closer to Africa that's expected to develop and move to the northwest. Taking a look at Tropical Storm Lee, we can see that it's expected to make it to hurricane status by Thursday, then major hurricane status, that's category 3 or higher, by about Friday as it passes to the north of the eastern Caribbean. Right now it's moving towards the west northwest at 16 miles per hour and is packing winds of 45 miles per hour. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that the entire Atlantic basin is being dominated by troughs and high pressures. One high pressure ridge right there across portions of the Bahamas and Florida. Another tropical wave right there to the north of Tropical Storm Lee, and that's going to be responsible for steering it towards the northwest. We can also see that we have a tropical wave right there to the west of Jamaica. It was this tropical wave that brought some amount of rainfall to the island yesterday. Taking a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with the tropical wave right there affecting portions of Honduras, Nicaragua. We can also see the clouds associated with that area of possible development right there off the coast of Africa. And to the west of that we have Tropical Storm Lee starting to spin away and possibly strengthen shortly. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for Tuesday. It was stated that we would have received some amount of morning rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica, then spilling into sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica. So western parishes, we know those are in the county of Cornwall, so St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, St. James, Westmoreland, Hanover. Eastern parishes for the morning, Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, and St. Thomas in the county of Surrey. While northern parishes is what we said it would have, been expected to fall in the afternoon. So Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover. And what ended up happening? As early as 8:16 a.m., the visible satellite images were posted on not only our Twitter page but our Facebook, Instagram and TikTok page, showing some clouds coming into sections of eastern Jamaica. So sections of St. Thomas, Portland definitely gotten out some amount of overcast skies and isolated showers in the morning. Then during the afternoon we had that huge blow up of convection across where? Northern and western parishes in Jamaica. So definitely sections of St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary. Even sections of northern St. Catherine and northern St. Andrew got in on some of that rainfall as well. And we have confirmation from some of our followers who sent in video clips showing rain in northern St. Andrew, more specifically around Red Hills area, and even in sections of St. Catherine, northern St. Catherine, that is, not Portmore St. Catherine at all. If we take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see where we indeed had that low level flow across the island coming in from the east southeast. Then all of those cumulus clouds piling up in the central and northern sections of the island. and then that brought about some amount of afternoon convection, and we can still see that we have a blow up right there across portions of Manchester at this time. So we're definitely getting in on some amount of afternoon convection across sections of Manchester, and we can see it even better on the infrared satellite images showing those high cold cloud tops still across portions of Manchester, Western Clarendon right there. Even the sparkling white dots, they represent a moment of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. And we can see where we had that blow up of convection across northern and western Jamaica, and then by evening hours all of that started to dissipate. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images, the Cuban Doppler radar images that is, we can still see that rainfall right there across portions of southwestern St. Elizabeth, and even that thunderstorm cell across sections of Manchester at this time. Taking a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology's website showing the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours across Jamaica, we can see where we indeed have that confirmation of that rainfall across eastern parishes, St. Thomas and Portland in the morning. Then during the afternoon, a special section of some northern and western parishes, as well as northern section of St. Catherine and St. Andrew. So we indeed have that confirmation on where we had that rainfall for today. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, or the temperatures that are expected for tonight: 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And as it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we have some contrast in the temperature forecast. This map from the Euro showing 18th on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday, and we see more in the way of some clear colors. So we don't see the yellows or the oranges across Jamaica that indicate above normal temperatures, and we don't see the blues. We see average temperatures. We see that on the key right there that represents the 0, while on the GFS model we see above normal temperatures being forecasted for the same time, 1 p.m. on Wednesday. So maybe some oranges right there, maybe up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal. Either way, we know that average temperatures for the month of September across Jamaica is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the equivalent of 31 degrees Celsius. So if the Euro model is right, we should be receiving 31 degrees Celsius. If the GFS model is right, anywhere from 31 to 33 degrees Celsius at most. Alright, let us take a look at the dry air map. We can see that there's a lot of dry air across portions of the Caribbean right there, as indicated by the yellows and the oranges. Not so much dry air across Jamaica at this time as it relates to the Saharan dust forecast. This map is showing 2 p.m. on Wednesday, and we do see some slight browns that represent some amount of Saharan dust across the central Caribbean, including Jamaica. Jamaica is located right there underneath the word port. That stands for Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti. We do indeed have some slight hazy weather right now across the area, but it is not that robust. We don't even notice it, even although it could be triggering some, asthmatic conditions or sinusitis issues for some people. It's not that robust. We don't see the very dark brown shades that indicate some vigorous Saharan dust plume at all, and we're indeed grateful for that, considering that we're in the month of September. We usually see the vigorous plumes in the month of June, July. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see the Euro model showing the same thing as the GFS model, with the darker blues that represent 1.5 meter wave heights across sections of some eastern parishes, or the waters surrounding the eastern sections of the island, while the least amount of wave heights across western and northern Jamaica is indicated by those lighter shades of blue that represent 0.5 of a meter wave heights, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS model. And that's due to the fact that the strongest wind will be, of course, on the south and the eastern side of the island right there, up to 20 knot winds, with the least amount of winds across the northern and western portion of the island. However, we can see those darker blues that represent the least amount of winds. So even up to less than 5 knot winds expected across sections of some inland areas of some central parishes and western parishes. That's on the Euro. GFS showing more of that darker shades of blue across sections of some northern and western parishes across the island, with more of an east-southeasterly flow towards the island with those winds. So as it relates to the afternoon convection, we would have that cumulus cloud coming in from the east-southeast, something similar to what happened today. Then more of that rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes according to the Euro. GFS more across sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica. And with the wind shear coming in from the northwest. You can see that wind shear right there pushing across the island from the northwest on the Euro model. GFS model, something similar. So any afternoon convection that we get across northern and western Jamaica during the afternoon, more than likely all of that is going to be pushed off towards the south, bringing more overcast skies to sections of some southern parishes, with more of that rainfall across sections of some northern parishes. So Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, definitely some amount of afternoon convection. Even sections of Westmoreland again for Wednesday afternoon. Taking a look at the rain forecast, we can see that the Euro model is a bit more robust with the amount of rainfall that's expected. As a matter of fact, for majority of the day, the Euro is showing a lot of rainfall across the island, while the GFS is not. The GFS is only showing afternoon convection, and we're looking for consensus. We do see the afternoon convection for 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time, on the Euro model, but the GFS is a bit different with where the rainfall is expected. The GFS is showing more rainfall across sections of some northern and western parishes, those very areas that we saw the air piling up on the wind forecast right there. So definitely sections of St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, maybe northern St. Elizabeth, northern Clarendon, and northern Manchester might get in on some of that afternoon convection as well. And we can see that the Euro is really going bonkers with the amount of rainfall totals that's expected across the island from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday, considering that the Euro model is showing lots of breads that represent up to 1 inch of rainfall or more across most even central or south central parishes in Jamaica, indicating lots of rain for the island tomorrow. But we don't believe what the Euro is saying. We want to see consensus. We want to see both the Euro model and the GFS model showing something similar for there to be more certainty in the forecast. And we see the GFS a bit, relaxed with the rainfall totals up to 0.55 of an inch of rainfall across sections of some northern parishes. And we do see the trend, northern and western parishes especially definitely getting in on some of that rainfall right there. Alright, so we're indeed grateful for the rainfall that we're going to be receiving across the island for tomorrow. Considering that we are in the month of September, we usually receive an uptick in the amount of rainfall that we receive. The bar graph at the top shows Kingston, the bar graph at the bottom shows Montego Bay. We're definitely in our primary rainy season. Montego Bay, as usual, gets more rainfall than Kingston. This map is in inches. The other map at the top for Kingston is in millimeters. You can do the math converting millimeters to inches. Definitely more rainfall for the northwest than the southeast. Taking a look at the forecast for the rest of the Caribbean, we can see that we don't have much activity going on. The French Guyana and the Guyanas very clear at this time. Suriname, most of Venezuela. We do see some thunderstorms right there across sections of eastern and central Colombia, as well as sections of Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, and even sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, not to mention sections of Cuba and the Bahamas getting in on some amount of afternoon convection. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean for today, we can see where we indeed had some amount of rainfall coming into sections of the islands right here. So sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, sections of St. John's, Antigua and Barbuda might have gotten in on some amount of rainfall today, as indicated by the greens that represent light to moderate rainfall. We do see that sections of Puerto Rico, specifically sections of western and central Puerto Rico, definitely got in on some amount of afternoon convection for today. As relates to the Barbados radar, we do see some rainfall up to the west of Barbados. They might have had 1 or 2 passing showers today. Even sections of the northern portions of the island got in on some amount of rainfall. We do see most of that rainfall passing through the Grenadine Islands right there, not to mention some amount of rainfall across sections of Trinidad and Tobago for today. If we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that we have some amount of rainfall coming into sections of northern Guyana, sections of Nicaragua, Honduras, the Belize area right here, Yucatan Peninsula, Guatemala, basically echoing what we just saw on these satellite images. If we take a look at the temperature forecast, we can see slightly above normal temperatures for the most part, stretching all the way from the eastern Caribbean to the western Caribbean. And we can see that on both the Euro and the GFS models. And we usually look for the consensus to know that yes, there's a certainty that that's what the temperatures are going to be like. As related to the Saharan dust, this map is showing 2 p.m. on Wednesday, and we do see that slight brown that represents some amount of slight hazy weather. Some slight hint of Saharan dust is in the atmosphere, but it's not that robust. If you want to see robust Saharan dust plumes, we're gonna see some darker shades of browns, and we don't have that happening at this time. As it relates to the wave forecast, we can see up to 1.5 meter wave height across majority of the Caribbean. Only that area to the far south of Jamaica is where we see those purples that represent maybe up to 2 meter wave heights. And that's due to the fact that the winds are going to be coming in anywhere from 15 to 20 knots across majority of the Caribbean, while 25 knot winds are expected right there off the coast of Colombia, which explains the higher wave heights. As relates to the rainfall forecast, we do see where the Euro model is a bit more robust with the rainfall that's expected across majority of the Greater Antilles. We can see all of those reds are present up to an inch of rainfall across sections of Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Northern Hispaniola, Jamaica. We do see more rainfall in store for sections of the Leeward Islands, maybe some slight isolated showers. Sections of the Windward Islands as well, so anywhere from St. Lucia southward, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. Not so much rainfall for Suriname or French Guiana at all, but maybe some more rainfall for sections of Northern Guyana, sections of Venezuela, sections of Colombia, Panama, of course, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Belize, Guatemala, and maybe even sections of the Yucatan Peninsula right there. And we see much of the same on the GFS model right here. I know that when we see something similar on both maps like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.